Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to another video, and today we are here for another severe weather breakdown. So let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with the SPC outlook for today, where we have a marginal risk of severe weather across portions of northern, central, and southern Texas. Now this extends all the way down to the Texas and Mexico border back up to DFW, so let's go ahead and break down the threats that this brings. Now starting off with the tornado threat for today, we do have a 2% risk of a tornado here for Fort Worth, Arlington, Irving, Grand Prairie, Carrollton, that kind of area. This does not include Dallas, although it may look like it, but it does include Fort Worth, like I said. So look out, a tornado is possible today. Damaging winds, we have a 5% risk, a wind gust of 60 miles an hour or higher in a similar area as the marginal risk. Hail threat for today, no hail threat. Moving on to tomorrow here, we have no marginal risks of severe weather, and Friday we have no marginal risks of severe weather. So let's go ahead and move on to the National Hurricane Center, where we have Hurricane Tammy, but we're going to break that down in just a minute. Eastern Pacific, we have disturbance has a 70% chance to form the next 7 days and a 30% chance to form the next 48 hours, but luckily this isn't going to head anywhere. And then we have disturbance over here that has a 20% chance to form the next 7 days, but it's not going to head anywhere either. We also have Tropical Storm Otis, but we're going to break that down more in just a minute. Central Pacific, nothing new. So let's go ahead and move on to the tracks for Tammy and Otis, and I need to tell a story about Otis here, but first we're going to start off with Tammy here. Is a Category 2 hurricane, which is a bit stronger than it was expected to be at this point, still sustaining winds of 105 miles per hour here, and is still expected to head for Bermuda, although by that point it will most likely be a tropical cyclone with 45 mile per hour winds, more like a post-tropical cyclone. So it's not too big of a deal, but it is going to be a strong thunderstorm that you're going to have to look out for here in Bermuda. Now, Otis, okay? So if you watched yesterday's afternoon video, you may think, oh, Otis made landfall as a Category 1, what else is new? Well, that's the opposite of what happened. Last second, the models took the biggest turn I've ever seen in National Hurricane Center history and put this up at a Category 5 at landfall just 24 hours after, whenever they weren't even sure if it was going to make landfall as a Category 1. It made landfall as a Category 5 with 165 mile per hour winds, 180 mile per hour gusts. This was like a huge explosion here. If you watched last night's video, you knew it was going to be bad, but it got even worse. Acapulco, there were hundreds, unfortunately, hundreds of deaths reported, mass destruction everywhere. That's the chaos of a Category 5 hurricane, and it's just like nobody could have expected this. Just a day ago, we thought it was going to be a Category 1 at landfall, and then it became the strongest hurricane to make landfall of the year, potentially for the past few years. So Acapulco is in a devastating situation right now. Billions in damages. Again, hundreds unfortunately did pass away. Thousands more were injured. This was definitely a hurricane that's going to go down in the history books at this point. This was one of the biggest events that has happened in the weather since I made this channel into a weather channel. So yeah, but where is it now? Well, now it's a tropical storm with about 60 mile per hour winds here, still meeting severe category here, so it is still a pretty big threat for this whole area. It's going to head up here to Morlia, and it's going to be a 40 mile per hour storm by that point. Sorry. So look out for that, but it's nowhere near as bad as what happened here in Acapulco. It's honestly pretty sad what happened. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the Climate Prediction Center here. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. We have two areas that have a 70 to 80% chance to see below average temperatures in the darkest shades of blue. One of them is huge, okay? This extends from the Texas-Mexico border back up to the U.S.-Canada border, okay? This goes from border to border, state lines here. And again, if you're in the darkest blue color there, that's going to be a 70 to 80% chance to see below average temperatures as this Arctic blast moves off to the east. Same thing here for the upper Midwest still. We do still have a small area that has a 70 to 80% chance to see below average temperatures, so look out for that. And then we do have an area here on the west coast that has a 50 to 60% chance to see above average temperatures, so look out for that. 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook here. This Arctic blast is also bringing a pretty big significant lessening in precipitation precipitation for some of these areas. And the darkest shades of brown, which there's one in the northeast, and then there's one here in the Ohio Valley, those are going to be 50 to 60% chances to see below average precipitation. So very dry coming up in those regions for the 31st to the 4th, which is when this is forecasting for. So definitely look out for that. And then over here on the west coast, kind of in the northwestern United States, we have an area that has a 50 to 60% chance to see above average precipitation in the darkest shade of green. 8 to 14 day outlooks here, 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. We're still going to have an area here on the west coast that's going to have a 60 to 70% chance to see above average temperatures as this next heat wave is going to move through the country. Luckily, we can get a break from the Arctic air that we've been having, but it's going to be pretty significant, okay? So places down in like Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, once this reaches you guys, it's going to get pretty warm again, unfortunately. So look out for that. 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook here. We're still going to have an area in the northwest that's going to have a 50 to 60% chance to see above average precipitation. So look out for that. Watches, warnings, and advisories. Winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, winter storm watches, hard freeze warnings now, all in effect here in portions of the northwest for our winter storm that is luckily going away now, but it dumped feet of snow in some regions, okay? I'm going to have more on that on my video tonight, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's it for that situation. A decent amount of flood watches are up for the deep south here in portions of Oklahoma and Texas, as we are going to have some storms move through this region that could bring some flooding rains. We do have one flash flood warning right now down here in Campbell County in the red there, so look out for that. Several inches of rain are falling there. But, yeah, other than that, pretty calm right now. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.